And hello, everybody. We are about to go live here, and there we are. Good afternoon. Hello. Welcome to Let's Talk. Oh no! Welcome to Let's Talk Landmark number 57 with our special guest here, Druid's Fire, also known in circles outside of Landmark as Jean Pryor, and she is a writer, works in the gaming industry, and she's awfully insanely smart, and she's got a lot of insights to share with us. Tinma and I met her at SOE Live 2014 and had a fabulous time.
Yeah,
so
it was great.
That's my
Well, you
face.
wanna?
Hi.
Yeah, let me get over here on the. All right. So we got a lot of questions. Now we have some news. We want to start off first from Landmark, the Landmark community, and stuff that happened since the last Let's Talk Landmark. But real quick, we're here. We've invited Druid's Fire here to discuss the article she wrote on MMO Central. Yeah, and we can't wait to get into this because wow, it's a heavy article. She hit a lot of stuff that is hot topics for all of us, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, we get some Landmark related news since episode 56, and Devlin, you want to go first with the pumpkin contest?
Absolutely. Well, there was indeed a pumpkin contest. Voxelvision, or Fierce, as he is known in game, hosted the second annual pumpkin competition, I believe this was. And it is currently up, and it's done. It's already been judged, but we don't know who the winners are yet. And that is right there on Halloween Island, right there by the spires. So if you guys haven't already been out there, get out there and take a look.
And I sent a message to him over on Twitter for when he does get the list, he can send them to me, and I'll put them into this week's community wrap up.
Excellent. And of course, and there's the link to the contest if you haven't already. Could when you guys drop that in the chat. And of course, I got my entry. I actually entered a contest. Unbelievable. I know, hard to believe. I got in, and Tinma didn't.
I didn't either, so.
Oh, you didn't, but you got a cool Halloween build that you're working on, right?
Yeah, I tore half of it down last night, so I'll probably go work on it later today.
Did you see Devlin's that we walked through today?
No, I didn't.
That's cool.
I was vacuuming the carpet earlier, and I still got like half of it to do. So
This is my first official, real thing I've ever taken part in. I haven't done any of the competitions, none of the race builds, nothing. And this is my first real thing I'm doing, and I'm very happy.
It's cool.
Katina's talking to me, wait, Tinma didn't enter it? He was gonna. Yeah, I was gonna, but I didn't finish it. I was working on a alligator sticking his head through a pumpkin. Dancing. He was going to be dancing, but I never got it finished, sadly.
yeah, I haven't really participated in the competitions, except I did the Talkish one because, as you could tell on the shirt, I'll probably be playing a High Elf Ponzi Snooty Git as my main when next comes out.
High Elf, eh?
High Elf, eh? I also play Dark Elf because, oh my god, Dark Elves.
Well, I noticed on your Twitter. I mean, your current name on Twitter is Dark Phoenix. So.
Well, with a name like Jean and a nickname of Phoenix, come on, it's Dark Phoenix. It's the Halloween.
Your character name had better be Ponzi Snooty Git. I want to see that running around.
No kidding.
I know that.
See how they
Ponzi
do
Snooty
naming
Git.
conventions. It'll be a male elf character. My female elf character will not have that name because she's much cooler than the Ponzi Snooty.
I see. She's too cool for a Ponzi Snooty Git.
Yeah.
Okay, I see how that is.
All right, well, so...
Girls cool, guys not cool.
There was a workshop show on Thursday with Rosie, Josh, Allen, and Elemental Fiend. Elemental showed off some upcoming features, including the Mega Palette, day-night clock controls, and the new camera features.
Now, I caught bits and pieces of that. I'm usually busy with my kids during that show, but I can't wait for those features to get into the game. Have you seen those, Jean?
I saw a bit of them. But all I want is a little checkbox that says Halloween, so that I can have Halloween on my personal claim year round.
I love the moon and the
I know,
sun.
and this. I know. I'm sad if they're gonna take away Halloween Party Island. I hope it stays. If
I
it
hope they
stays-
don't. I hope they do not take it away. I hope it stays. They can lock it down after
Exactly.
Halloween, make sure nobody can get in there and build on it anymore if that's what they want to do. But don't
Not
delete
Museum
the
Island.
island. Yeah.
And leave the sun and the moon just like it is on that island.
I know. I will permanently
Yes.
keep my Halloween claim there if they keep that there. So
Yeah, well, yeah, that will be our new place, our new humble abode in Landmark will be on Halloween Island.
Another thing that they need to do, just since we're already on this subject, make it selectable from the character select screen.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Having to
God.
go-
Yes.
Having to go into a different island, then load back into Halloween Island, unintuitive, I think would be a good word for it.
Yeah, and we encountered that today.
Just put the Museum Island in the character select, and then you can go to any of the. Because most people, like, let's say somebody rolls up into Landmark now, they won't have no freaking idea that there's a museum server at all, and so
Yeah.
they won't be able to go back and see the landmarks of landmarks or the Kinos ones or any of these. So
Well-
I think it's.
My question is this: why do we have a character select screen?
A server select screen. You know what I'm talking about. I mean,
I know, but why do we have a character select screen? We only
I don't know.
have one character.
I don't
You
know.
are a
Not-
character, Tenma.
Not really what I was trying to get at here, but yeah.
Sorry.
Museum. Okay, Pentapod said they made
Yeah,
the
there's
museum islands not selectable on the character select screen on purpose so a new player doesn't start there and be completely confused why they can't claim or build anything. Fine. But if I log out and I have to log back into a different island just to be able to log back into my Halloween build when I'm busy building my Halloween build, it makes it really difficult. So that was the only point I was trying to make.
Yeah,
That's a
like
fair
let's say
point.
you're building and you get disconnected because your internet takes a dump, and then you jump back in. Then you have to go all the way back.
I think
Yeah.
these inside the game at the crystal itself, the server select screen or little pop-up little thing is not intuitive either. I mean, you have your listing of all the islands and all that kind of stuff, but you still have to do a drop down to get to one of the other servers instead of having that the primary focus as your first window, and then you have the islands of that. You know,
And look at that. We've been doing this now for 10 minutes and I've already completely derailed the entire show.
yes.
Bravo!
Good job, Devlin.
Gio's up next.
Yeah.
Go.
All right. So Daybreak is in the process of moving to their new studios in San Diego, and well, you got to see that picture, and I'll show it again here because it is freaking awesome. We can't wait till they get all moved in and settled in. But there it is. Now the workshop show is going to be in hiatus until they get their new broadcasting studio completely set up and operational. I don't think we have an ETA on that, do we? Anybody seen any? I think they just left it
If
open
anybody has a template of the Daybreak Eye out there in game, send it to me, please, and we will build the new Daybreak Studios in Landmark.
Somebody
I already
whoever
have
did
an
the
idea.
eye.
I'll do it.
Now Tima's got one, but it's huge. But wow, Watok, did you guys see the Eye of Daybreak that he made? We showed it on the show today. Oh my god, that thing was freaking amazing! Wow. So go back and watch. You can catch it towards I think towards the end of our show from this morning. It's on our past broadcast.
I also got a picture sent out on my Twitter.
Oh,
so
excellent.
there-
Yeah,
that's
make sure.
my Twitter.
Yeah.
That's
Check
right
Devlin's
off.
Twitter. It's right there on the screen.
Yeah, I still got that logo somewhere. Pretty
I
sure
thought
of
Six
it.
I Do had one built, but maybe not.
And let's see, here's, and if you would like the link to that tweet that I was just showing on the screen, there's the tweet. And I hear that Emily has got a new one that she's put out. But Devlin, you're up.
Well, to conclude before we get started, Murin has also posted the community weekend wrap up, and I'm sending the link into chat right now. So you guys can all catch back up on everything that happened last week. And Mirna's not here with us currently. Something had happened, I believe, with some kind of job situation.
Well, she got the day off, and
Okay, she got the day off, and she is spinning it with Beetle. So
because she likes him more than us.
that's great.
Fair.
I like almost anybody more than myself. So that's fine.
Fair enough. Oh, well, that wraps the news. There's a lot of stuff there in that community update. There's a lot of stuff that went on during the week, run by players and the community here on both on Twitch and in game. And the wrap up there covers all that. So just follow that link if you want to see more. And
And I'll be doing this week's wrap up. So if you've got anything from your perspective parts of the community, get in touch with me and I'll get it into this week's wrap up.
Excellent. Send it to you via.
Send it to me Twitter or get in touch with me in game.
Yeah, and his Twitter's right there on the screen. Wow. So, Gene, we are excited to have you on the show. I'm so thrilled when you agreed to do this. I was even more thrilled when I read your article, and man, you hit on just some really hot issues. The Landmark has been in development now for a year and 10 months, or is it, a year and 9 months, and we've been in closed beta since the end of March of 2014. And for me, it's kind of a long cycle. But gee whiz. So first off, you've been in the gaming industry for how many years?
Well, to be fair, I'm not in the gaming industry. I write about the gaming industry. Let's call it, because I'm not technically I am a game dev because I've been building mushes for 20 some odd years. So technically I am a game dev, but right now that's a bit lapsed. So I started writing for TorWars.com, which is a SWTOR fan site. And then I transitioned over to writing for MMORPG.com. And back in May, me and a couple other friends founded MMO Central, where I not only write, but I am also an editor. Yay.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't realize you were one of the founders. That's cool.
Yep.
And do you, so is that your day job, or?
No, we currently, with such a new game, we are currently uncompensated. It is volunteer work. However, I kind of rather enjoy it. So when I
know the feeling.
But it's not my day job. I work for a company that beat out EA for the worst company in America, so I don't generally mention where I work on social media. I'm just saying.
Good answer. Well, we're just grateful that you are active and you've been writing, and you were at SOE 2014. I mean, you're always part of the press, so we're fortunate that you're in the community, especially in the Landmark community. Your insights into the industry and to Landmark and Daybreak are damn good.
Oh. Well, to be fair, my sister actually is in the game industry. She is a community manager. She has been on the Star Wars The Old Republic team. She actually used to work for Linda Carlson at one point, I think she did mostly work on PlanetSide 2, I want to say, as part of Brass's team. So, yeah.
That's cool.
She's much cooler than I am, so you should have invited her on the show.
No. We got you. We're lucky for it.
That's somebody else I miss a lot. I miss Linda.
Yeah, she was.
Linda's having a great time up at Tryon.
Well, that's the thing about Linda. She will have an epic time no matter where she goes. If you saw her at 2014, at SOE 2014, SOE Live 2014. I'll get it right eventually.
She was wearing a beard the whole time.
Well, because she's a dwarf. Of course she's going to wear a beard. Duh.
She's one of a kind, and she's just fabulous. Anyway, yeah, tell us.
I actually have a map up in my library from when I first started playing Lord of the Rings online, like 2007, 2008, that Linda drew, because she has this whole site that she did maps for the game. I still have a copy of one. This is before I'd ever knew who the hell she was. It was awesome. It's like, wait a minute, that's Brad. Oh, I see. It was kind of fun.
Wow, I had no idea. That's
I
cool.
didn't know that either.
That's cool. Devlin, you want to tackle the next question?
Where are we at now?
Right here.
Fantastic. What games are you currently playing?
Well, I did mention Lord of the Rings Online. In fact, I will be participating in their official stream later today. I also play WildStar because Omid is in charge of that community team, and I've loved that game since before I ever learned who Omid was.
Wild Lord of the Star Rings, is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
still play World of Warcraft. Every year, it seems on my birthday, every year they launch, or close to it, they launch their Hallows End event, and I'm a Halloween nut. Almost
So
that.
the countdown is on.
Yeah, it'll be Sunday.
Well, early happy birthday.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, here's a cat.
Oh yeah. Well, the
Scowl.
show's Let's Talk Landmark's not complete without little fuzzy animal.
Yeah, he's a little fuzzy. What else do I play? Let me go look. WildStar. I have EverQuest, the original. EverQuest 2, Marvel Heroes, Final Fantasy 14. And I do actually have a bunch of BioWare games loaded up, but I haven't actually played them, which is kind of sad because it was a BioWare writer who convinced me that I should actually take up Deirdre Hollis's offer to write for Tour Wars.
Well,
That's a true story.
I used to be a big fan of BioWare, and yeah, moving on.
Be hating on my friends.
Yeah.
Well, now have you tried, or do you do first-person shooters first of all?
Actually, no, I generally don't. And
Okay.
Katina says I have to say I play Landmark too. I thought that was a given. I'm sorry, I should have said I also play Landmark. I was one of the winners of the Talkish thing, and I have a little trophy in my inventory.
I love your
everybody's-
build.
I actually kind of like it. I want to go back and work on it, but right now, that space got taken up by what was going to be my Halloween claim until they announced the Halloween Island. So I'll go back.
So do you have a favorite game right now?
No, because the answer will change based on what game am I playing, what do I feel like playing.
You
Yeah.
are a true gamer. Just Just saying.
Well, see, if you play a game, you're a gamer. I don't go for that gatekeeping BS at all. I don't care if what you like to play is a Farmville, or if you like to play, Call of Duty, or whether you play 5 minutes a day or you play 5 hours a day. It doesn't matter to me. If you're playing games and having fun, you're a gamer. End of discussion, in my opinion.
I say I'm totally on the other side of that.
Well, we
if you
mentioned what
if you
were.
play it on your phone, you're not a gamer. If you play it on a console, you're not a gamer. You got to be a PC person.
Oh.
Sorry, that's just me. It's just me.
Well, you can stay in that little bigoted box of yours, and that's fine.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Tim, you want to tackle that next question?
What games do you think have big potential and why?
Ooh, good question. Of the ones that I'm keeping an eye on, things like No Man's Sky, because right
Yes.
now we don't really know what's going on with it, but it's kind of, people are comparing it to Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen, but they're doing their own thing, and I think the potential is much greater there because they're not so formally in this big fight with Derek Smart and the money and who's suing who and all that drama. They're just we're gonna build our game over here and we'll be fine. So I'm looking forward to that. I might actually buy a PS4 if it means I could play, what was it, Horizon? Zero Horizon? The one that I saw with the awesome lady who was not wearing a chainmail bikini shooting arrows at a techno dinosaur. What the hell? That's so awesome. So I think they can go somewhere.
I gotta look into that one.
I
Wow,
think
that's
it's
cool.
by Guerrilla Games, I think.
Well, for what it's worth, I've heard apparently that No Man's Sky is being released on PS4 first. So that's going to be my reason to go get a PS4 if I don't get one before that.
Yeah, my
No Man's
reason-
Sky looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean the game just looked brilliant. And to me, I'm not a PvPer, so there goes like 3/4 of the audience right there.
No,
So-
about 10%.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the game. They're 95% of the noise and 10% of the actual players. So take that what you will. Zero Horizons, thank you, Mechasonic 9000. It's over 9,000. You should have been 9,001. Looking forward to EQ. Tellerker, busted my chops about the easy answers. Yes, I'm wearing an EverQuest Next shirt. Of course, I'm looking forward to it. But I'm looking forward to learning more about it. Because right now, I can contact Daybreak and say, give me an interview, and they'll probably give me one. They won't tell us much of anything, but they'll give me an interview. Because right now, they don't have folks like MMORPG or Kotaku or Polygon or any of those bigger name sites knocking on the door asking what the hell's up. As soon as they start releasing stuff, yeah, I'm going to have fun trying to get a hold of those guys and girls.
Well, yeah, Tima, go ahead.
I want to bust their chops. You know, this is the typical me.
Bring it.
But the simple fact that we have one released image over the last year plus for EverQuest Next, and people are hungry to get information on it. You've got the workshop show. You got people going in there and bugging the crap out of us builders the whole entire time that we're trying to watch the workshop show. They're wanting information, but nothing's being released.
Mm-hmm.
That is a PR. I'm about to cuss. Well, I'm seriously a cluster F right there. It's basically somebody on the PR side of things
On
is
my
not
show.
doing their job. Somebody there is not doing their job.
Corinne, Tim, at the timeout, please. Well, yeah, I mean, we're dying for we're dying to just get some more peeks under the hood of EQN. I mean, the whole world is. Now, SOE Live 2014 was epic. It was phenomenal. They showed everyone except for Devlin. And several other sci-fi guys. But they showed us so much cool stuff that they had been putting together, that they put together just for SOE Live 2014. But it was stuff that was specific to EverQuest Next. And we, other than that screenshot you mentioned, we haven't really gotten anything else. And so, I mean, we understand they're in development and mum's the word, but...
Well, see, that's part of the problem, really, is that, again, this is the what we were sold and what we're actually getting argument of what did Dave say and are we actually going to get. Those two things in this reality do not match. And, you know, we don't know all the nitty-gritty behind the scenes, but what I do know is that you need to fuel the hype train, but you don't want to fuel it too much. But we were told, and again, I don't use the word promise because I cringe when some gamer gets pissed off because they promised us something. No game dev ever promises you a GD thing. Okay, speaking about cussing on the show.
It's okay.
I already ruined that. It's all good.
Nobody promises anything. It's like, we're going to try to do this. This is our, this is the time that we're expecting it to go live, but things happen. The procedures, something comes up at the last second. Hey, we got to push this off for a week. We've seen that every time that Terry has said, hey, we're going to do an update on Thursday. Oh, hey, we've come across a couple bugs. It's got to be next week. We've seen that. We're used to that. But we were told we would be in this development process. We wouldn't just be building stuff for the races. We'd be helping them design things. We'd be helping offer insight and input into, combat mechanics. For example, those guys at Crowfall, I've been watching some of my colleagues about, they've got people streaming the game, and I did mention this in the editorial, where the background is just 3D grayscale. There, you just have your. You can even see some of the dev, markers of how the character is going to move, the rigging. You can see that while they're streaming, and they're still in alpha. And so, it can be done. The question is, why not?
It was fascinating to see those streams when they were testing the combat stuff, the pre-alpha combat over at Crowfall.
Crowfall, Unreal Tournament. I mean, there are multiple games that have promised, or not promised, that have said that they're going to have open development like what you're talking about, and it's far more open than what we're getting with Landmark and EQN. I mean, I wrote a thing on the forums a couple months back. I don't know if you've read that or not, but everything that you said in your article, I had said. I just did it in a less tactful manner, I guess, because I was not well received by my article at all. But yeah, I mean, it's you do have a point there. It can be much more open. It can. Just why isn't it?
The biggest impact us as players have had on the development of the style inside of EverQuest Next was Karen. I cannot say that. I cannot say that for any other competition we've had. Maybe small little changes, but not drastic changes to the style. Karen was a drastic change. And we haven't seen that at all in the competitions, for the most part. It's here's the imagery, this is what we want, go. And that's kind of how it's gotten down to now. And having any kind of a impact on the actual style, I'm just not seeing it anymore.
Yeah, we adhere to the style we're given. We are not really going outside. We're not coloring outside the lines, and don't really get a feeling that we can color outside the lines too far. So, I mean, that's also part of the stagnation, and it's like we're following, we're not helping to lead.
Yeah, I like the fact that they challenge us to raise the bar on what can be done with this engine. The Talkish, case in point, it was just incredible. I saw the style guide for that, and I thought, there is no way in hell we're going to be able to build that.
Then I watched folks like Verlin. Honestly, I learned how to do my Talkish roofs by watching Verlin stream once. It's like, this makes sense.
I remember when I got into this game, there was something I wanted to build that had that kind of double S curve that was at an angle and bent that the Talkish roofs had, and I asked somebody, like, can something like this be done? They said no. And then all of a sudden,
at the time we couldn't.
I know, and at the time we couldn't, and now people have messed with it more, and now we can. It's fantastic.
And
you can see the progression of what people are doing with the game just by looking at last year's pumpkins from the Halloween competition versus what people are dropping in today. It's like, they're great, there's great stuff that people built last year, awesome creativity, but the fine details, the voxelmancy work is just progressed so far since then.
I mean, once we get the ability to have a circle line tool.
Hello, Elemental Feed, if you're listening.
He'd be watching later. He's not here.
Once we get the ability to have a circle line tool added to our tool set, on top of all this other stuff that we keep seeing imagery of over the last few episodes here on Let's Talk Landmark, the amount of things that we're going to be able to do in game is going to just explode. And it's going to be great. But, yeah, they definitely need that.
Devlin, we're back to you.
Okie dokie.
When I got highlighted.
Get everything pulled out. Oh, you do. Thank you so much. So, are we at here, the purple one?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so what prompted you to write your recent article about Landmark? Because, I mean, it was a very good article indeed, and I wasn't expecting it. Kind of came out of nowhere, and like what Gio said, I mean, I was reading it just nodding the entire time. There was nothing that you said that I was like, I don't really. It was very good. So what exactly prompted you to do it?
My muse is an evil bee, and I was honestly, I've been listening to the community. I don't jump on the forums because I try not to unless I need to look up something from a developer, like an official dev post. But I was saying what I was thinking. That's why it was written as an editorial, because I was speaking for myself and my own position as a member of the community. It's like, what am I missing? What can be done here? And I didn't want to just, complain about the company, because again, if you notice, I tried not to throw anybody under the bus because I like the folks at Daybreak. Emily's been hanging out there in chat, and I love Emily. She's cool. So the fact that she's back on,
Me too.
everybody's like, I
We
don't
all
want
know
to
you,
call
Tim.
my friends out.
We all know.
And actually, it's one of those ethics in game journalism kind of things. It's like, you try not to, get too close to the people you're writing about. But I've met these folks. I like them. I respect them. It's just, this is something that needs to be done. And the folks that we're interacting with most aren't the ones who are supposed to be doing it. So I'm not,
I think it's one of those things where if we don't tell them how we actually feel, then it's all hunky dory. There's nothing ever gets changed. Nothing ever changes, and it basically gets to the point where they don't actually listen to us anymore. So as long as we let them know, hey, this is a problem. We have a problem here. Please fix it. And then you give them enough time to actually attempt to fix it or make that change to actually better the company as a whole. That's what I see as one of the great things about this show. I'd mouth off in a second. Actually, less than a second.
Long? Nanosecond, sir. Nanosecond.
Yeah.
But normally, I mean, if it hasn't already come straight out of my mouth, then it's something that somebody has told me in TeamSpeak, or they've expressed it to me through, the in-game system email. And that's where almost everything comes from. So, if one person's feeling that way, then I'm probably sure more than that one person is feeling the same way.
And that was sorry, go ahead.
Well, I've noticed, and the reaction to the community, from the community, has been extremely blush-causing over here, because I was just, spouting off what was in my head, and it makes me kind of sad that, other people have said such kind things, like Zek Saidu has been very effusive, and Karan and Katina, all these awesome people whose work I respect in the game, and that they're feeling the same thing. So generally, if I have a thought, it's not just me. So,
well, what I like is, while you love the game and you're very fond of the people that are building it, because it's hard not to be. We met them all at SOE Live, and they're just amazing folks. But you've you're in a position where you're able to be probably most objective. It had been Devlin or myself or Tinma or anybody else from the community here that wrote that article. I don't think it would be received by both Daybreak and the community as well.
Well, Gio, you can look at my post on that forum, the one that got like 14 pages. My post was like 5.5 pages long. I wrote a long post, and it completely went to crap. So you're absolutely right. Somebody like me writing that article didn't work.
Yeah.
Now Phoenix came in and did it, and it worked. I don't know why, I don't know how, but I'm just glad that it did.
Well, that's why she has a press pass and we don't.
A press pass. I have a press pass. But no,
I drive the bus.
Well, part of it, I think, is the fact that I have to consciously remain objective. I can't just go completely native, go forum troll all over the place. On some level, I have to not only call out a company when something is going wrong, what I perceive to be a failing, but do it in a respectful manner that doesn't throw specific devs under the bus. Because, again, it's not the fault of the people making the game. The people that we need to get in here is somebody to be a new face, to be a cheerleader, to be the one who interfaces between the community and the devs. For example, love him to death. Terry is not a Dave Georgeson. And they worked well together on the stream because you had the goofball and then you had the straight man. So Terry's the guy who's off getting the job done, but he's not really all that, camera savvy, and he's not that much of a personality. And again, I don't say that in a bad thing. He's great at what he does, which is he's making the game, right?
And
So
he's insanely nice.
Yeah, he is awesome, awesome dude. And so what we need, and I mentioned this in the article, the one big thing that they could immediately do to make the EverQuest Next channel much more awesome, get a couple of GED mods in there. A couple of green swords to moderate the chat, to answer questions, because this is something I learned. I got volunteered by Tony Ray to moderate that 5-day WildStar countdown chat, which we had over 9,000 viewers in when they went free to play. I spent the entire weekend dropping in links. People were asking questions. I was just answering the questions, and it wasn't derailing any time they were actually on the screen. Right now, what's going on is we've got Rosie doing her job. We've got Josh doing his job. They're talking about the topic of the show, but somebody needs to be in the chat answering all these other side questions, so they don't have to worry about it because they're not really focusing. They're focusing on what they're supposed to be doing, but they need somebody to to corral the chat.
Well, see, the one thing I have an issue with when it comes down to the workshop show is there's a lot of information going through the chat that the recording doesn't pick up. People that come back later and watch the show, they miss half the conversation of what was going on. And that's why we put the chat here so everybody can see it. They know what we're talking about. They know what we're responding to. And it's like more of a complete picture. But I know that could be bad for them if all of a sudden you get a troll in there and that's all they want to do.
And you don't have a moderator to neutralize it.
Right. I mean, they've tried by getting a couple of other people on some of their other, somebody hopping on the broadcaster feed. But you can even have a couple of people in the community guest moderating. Because, again, I'm still a guest mod for WildStar, because they never desorted me.
I think
even though I did volunteer.
I think you'd be a great choice, honestly.
Well, yeah, because I basically and it's because I also mod for Omid, so I kind of learn what the rule is. If somebody's getting personal, then they get a timeout. If somebody comes back and gets personal again, then they're out. They get their one chance. But when it comes to because folks are coming in, they're rolling in with legitimate questions like, why isn't this EverQuest Next? Why are you showing stuff from Landmark? And it doesn't matter how many times you guys or anybody in the community is in that chat, if they don't have the green sword, then nobody's going to respect what they have to say. Because random people don't care if the person who's answering their question is not official. If they don't see any official kind of contact there, then they're just going to say whatever they want and say, well, this show says it's about this. Why are they not showing it? It's like, who cares? It's
I'll moderate it.
No, Tenma,
Let
you may
me
not
up.
moderate. No.
What? I'm actually a good mod. I'm actually a good mod. I used to do it before, so I'm a little bit more sensible when I'm not in front of the camera.
That's true. I can vouch for that. Timma, next question's yours.
All right. And what can you tell us about their recent announcement of their new creative director?
Absolutely nothing more than you can read in that article that Michelle posted. The way I was introduced to Jens Anderson, because I had no idea who he was at SOE Live during the talent competition, where he stood up and yelled at a couple of PS2, like one table of PS2 people were shouting between, at every contestant and everything, and just were being overly rowdy. He stood up and said, "You guys are being rude." That's the first time I'd ever really heard of him.
Oh, I remember him. Yes.
I remember that.
Wow.
Other than that, I never really, I do follow him on Twitch. I never get to watch him because he's always streaming when I'm still at work. And I'm going to save my sneaking on Twitch for the folks who's.
Oh, does anybody have his Twitch handle?
It's Spittle, the same as his nickname.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
SPYTLE.
I'm still calling him Yams. Just
Yams.
cause.
Yeah, well.
He's going to come up to me.
Oh.
He's going to come up to me at the next Daybreak Live, and he's going to be like, "You the guy calling me Yams, ain't you?"
One thing I do know.
Security.
As executive creator, from my understanding of the chain of command, is he's not actually Terry's boss. I think Darren McPherson. See, here's the thing: we hardly ever hear of Darren McPherson anymore. Why the hell is that? Because he doesn't talk to us. He doesn't post anything too much. He's busy building a damn game.
Michael Mann.
Mangelic. Hashtag ManFan. So, Devlin's got a question.
I don't have a question. I just have a point to make that kind of goes along with what you just said that I didn't get the chance to talk about a second ago. We don't hear anything about this game at all. Period. I mean, you had mentioned it in your article. I mentioned it in the forum post that I made. We don't get tweets from Landmark. We rarely get anything as far as like tweet conversations go. We get that the last time the website was updated was what, Gio? We found out like 103 days ago.
Yeah, on the landmarkgame.com or landmarkthegame.com.
So there's a lot of stuff.
The most current tweet is Stifed, and it's from literally 91 days ago.
The point I'm trying to make is that there's a lot of stuff we just don't know about because we don't know. We are truly ignorant on all of this stuff because we don't know what's going on.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Do tell.
I think
Do I need to go get the tinfoil hat?
I think they're kind of holding back, really pushing out Landmark promo stuff until they get some of the crap that they told everybody that they were going to have in the game. Then they're going to go be like, "Hey guys, we got an awesome game."
Well, I think the next question I have for Gene may get to some of this indirectly. Can you tell us, and this kind of addresses this, can you tell us who dictates the development of EQN and Landmark and who manages that development?
Bearing in mind this is my opinion, because I have, and I'm sure Emily will probably giggle to herself when I get it wrong, because she will know better than I, and I'm not prompting anybody to ask her because that's not her job to answer that question. But what I perceive is who's dictating the development is the development team. It's not marketing is not doing anything with it. I mean, we've seen that. Holy crap! Marketing is not marketing the game. Why? Because you don't
the development team is developing the game.
Yeah, surprise! I know. But here's part of the thing is before Smed wandered off, and you can make of that what you will. To me, Smed leaving was not a surprise at all. And I honestly, my personal opinion, had absolutely nothing to do with the fact he got into a fight with Blizzard Squad. Because anytime you sell a company, about 6 months later, the previous CEO takes a walk. That's the way that works. I'm expecting it. Actually, my company is in the merger process with another company. If that happens, I expect our CEO to walk in 6 months after the deal's complete. It's just, that's the way it is. But Smed left, and one of the things he said before he left was that the EQN team was the largest at Daybreak. Okay, how big is that? How many people are we talking about? We don't know because they don't tell us. One thing I suggest, this would be a really cool thing if they're willing to do it, and again, by they, I mean the individual devs, is get the devs to do like a guest shot, like Lisa did. You saw how the community was like freaking out that Lisa was there. It's like, oh my god, a dev! Well, dev appears. If in like Elemental Fiend just came out of nowhere, whether it's because he was busy working or he wasn't authorized to speak, I don't know. But if it's a not authorized to speak kind of thing, they need to stop, doing the not authorized. They need to start letting people talk.
It creates a problem within the community because this is supposed to be a community-driven and community-assisted build of an entire video game. That was one of the things that they said that was going to be happening here. Development at the same time with the community, open communication. And then if they just leave us out, we're kind of 10 months. Sorry.
I mean, how long have I been saying that? I don't know why they stopped Landmark Live. All of a sudden
I know why.
It got to the point where they were saying, "Hey, we don't have enough to give you any kind of information." I don't care. Do a Landmark Live, bring devs in there, be like, "Hey, this is what I do. This is how I do things."
And
it's
you can
an
complain
hour.
about EverQuest Next devs on Landmark Live. That'll work.
Cool.
But yeah,
but still.
having them come on and just, even for like 10 minutes say, hey, I do this. Like Elemental Fiend would show up and introduce himself and say, I've been doing this, that, and the other. You don't have to show a lot of screenshots, but to actually give your players the impression that, oh, hey, there's more than 2 people working on this game. You just don't see most of them. And also, it's also where, half the studio got laid off in February. Poor souls. Most of them found other assignments to do.
At least it wasn't during Christmas.
How many were left? Yeah.
At least it wasn't during Christmas or a major holiday.
Some people may love or hate SMED and give him all kinds of crap for being forthright and honest and brutally so. But one thing I have heard from people both still in the company and outside the company for the most part is that he took care of their people. He took care of his people and that he was a great CEO to work for because he was invested in those people. Now, of course, the deal doesn't care about people.
Yes,
Sadly.
very much so. Yep. And that's just whenever there's an acquisition, you usually get a lot of this. And really not Daybreak, but Columbus Nova, dictates the business objectives.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're the ones that say you need to get under this budget or else, and the first thing you're going to do is fire the people at the top.
Yeah,
because they want big paychecks.
And I know for a fact that a lot of the heat's been on Terry for a while, and it should not be because he's the guy tasked with managing and trying to develop what needs to be built to reach those objectives, which are not dictated by him.
Right, and that's the where he's the. I don't want to say it. I'm going to say it. The monkey in the middle, because he's the guy who has to make stuff happen, and he knows the timelines of when stuff's going to happen. But somebody above him, like I think their boss is Russ Shanks, who's the new CEO or whatever. And how many people have heard that guy's name once or twice since the announcement? Oh, hey, Smed's leaving. This is the new guy in charge. We've heard F all from that end of the game, like the high ups as to what's going on. So, yeah.
Well, when it comes to Terry, I've got the utmost respect for that man. I mean, he is an awesome guy. No ifs, ands, buts about it. I like him.
One of the nicest managers in the game industry I've ever met.
And, I mean, he's not a very vocal person, which I'd love to see more of Terry. I would.
He's soft-spoken.
Yeah, he's very soft-spoken. But at the same time, I mean, like I said, I have the utmost respect for him.
But carries a big stick.
Emily and Terry went out of their way for me.
Yeah. I remember. I remember, dude.
At SOE Live. They went out of their way for me. And, I mean, 2 days prior to the stream, and with all that commotion going on and the craziness, he didn't forget about what I asked him, which was, I mean, it was just freaking nuts. And, like I said, I've got the utmost respect for Terry, and I'd love to have him come on the show. And it probably won't ever happen because, my mouth gets me in trouble and all that kind of stuff. But it's still... Let me move on to the next thing. It is clear now that the development of EQN and Landmark has started under different conditions. Do you think that under those conditions back then, it made sense to set this up as an open development?
It did back then because nobody had done it yet. So basically having your players help dictate the course of the game and the development cycle, and to be almost there in the trenches with the team, just basically not doing the coding ourselves. Yeah, because it was innovative for its time, but these days, I can think of a half dozen games off the top of my head that are doing something similar but have improved on that basic premise of actually getting people in there, letting them show off the game before it's ready for prime time. Because at this point, nobody cares if the game is ready for prime time. They just want to see something. And I have a howling cat, sorry. So, for example, my friends who are in the Crowfall Alpha who spent a crap ton of money to be in that Kickstarter funny business, they're streaming a game where you can see the rigging tools. You can see the ground is just gray. The buildings are gray. It's depressing to look at, but you're actually seeing them, work through things, break things, and then giving that feedback to the developer. Because bearing in mind, Landmark is still in beta. We're supposed to be testing this crap. We're not supposed to be just playing it. So anybody who's just playing and not giving feedback when you find something wrong, well, you're doing it wrong.
That's a great point, and wow, need to underscore that.
Because the things that are broken, we need to tell them what's broken, where were we, what were we doing, all this other stuff, because I think a lot of us, even I myself, have forgotten that it's still in beta. We're still supposed to be, but on the other hand is the road. Like we're meeting. Let's say we're meeting halfway here. Daybreak's got to meet us to the other half. Shadow Puppets, and take that feedback and actually do something about it. So there we go. Thank you. So if we say, oh hey, by the way, double jump is broken. You need to fix it so it's more like a triple jump. Otherwise, it's not going to work for yada yada yada. If they don't change that, then it doesn't make us feel like we're helping. So I'm not expecting every single suggestion we come up with to be acted upon, because that's not the way the universe works. But to at least get some things changed, because community outcry is saying, hey guys, this Talkish style kind of, wait a minute, this isn't right, this is the wrong color. We need to be able to say, no guys, you're actually incorrect, this is the way we think it should be. And Daybreak should be like, you know what, I think you guys are right. So that would be kind of cool to get that feeling that we're actually impacting or changing the course of the game based on what the community feels is appropriate, as well as what the developers think is appropriate.
Well, I mean, if we think back in time here, it was March. No, it was probably it was around early March or something like that. I can't remember when I made the post over on dgcissuetracker.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's run by Fredulous, isn't it?
No, he's a moderator up there, but it's not ran by him. Basically, I made a post about the fact that if I'm doing my hover, by floating down type thing, that I can't use my grapple hook. It used to work, but now it doesn't. It still broke. It's still there, and it's still one of the highest commented on posts on DGC Issue Tracker. Mm-hmm. It's like one of the highest ones in there, but it has yet to be fixed. So I think it's to the point where if we do run into problems, there are times where it kind of makes us feel like, why should I even bother giving you feedback? It's not being addressed.
Absolutely.
And a lot of that came into play when they pulled devs off and pushed it over on EverQuest Next. We weren't getting any kind of feedback. We weren't getting any fixes. So the issues have been compounding over on that site now versus fixes. Now, I understand that some of those fixes will come into play when they change UI stuff, but I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss where I was going with this, but
things are broken and they're not fixing it.
My thing is we need to have some kind of like discussion with somebody at Daybreak. We need our terms defined for us. We need these things spelled out very clearly. Open development, fine. Does that mean development by democracy or dictatorship? Do we have some kind of actual true... Can we affect this at all, or are we just doing things for everybody? That's what we really need to know about. Because even in chat, already I'm starting to see this polarization start to happen where some people are either with it and some people are not. And your already dwindling community is divided among what exactly it is that we're doing here. We need to have this stuff actually spelled out for us. Period. That's all there is to it.
This will go perfect into your question, Dev.
Indeed, I know. Are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and how looking at how these conditions have changed since the beginning and since now, do you think it still makes sense to continue to have an open development, or does the lack of communication already hint at the end of an open development?
I have a little secret to tell. We haven't been in open development for almost a year.
Ever since SOE Live.
Yeah, basically, the notion that we are directly affecting the course of the game has it's like the Peter Pan falling over. He needs people to, well, actually Tinkerbell needs people to clap to make the fairies not die, because the light's almost out in that particular lighthouse. So do I feel that I have more say in the course of EQN or Landmark than I do, say, Gigantic? No. They're not promising open development either, or saying they're going to get promising. I hate that word. I would say either there needs to be some formal announcement to say, oh, yeah, we're not doing open development anymore. Sorry. And go from there. Just bite that bullet, take that hit, and move on. Or if you're going to say, we have open development, bring us on board. Terry has said many times we're a part of the team. Well, let's feel like a team. Do what needs to happen because, contracting Jensen, great idea. Are there more people who you can contract in? Heck, I volunteered to help write some of the lore because I love lore. I'm a lore nerd. I own rosong.com, and I'm going to do something with that eventually.
Oh, wow. Cool.
But, yeah, because somebody at Daybreak never bought the domain name because somebody in marketing was very foolish. And I won't tell you who told me that.
I put it out there, I don't know how many times that, I'll build buildings for them. They want a particular building built. I'll do it. Just let me know. But I just don't see them doing that because they're getting all this stuff for free as it is. And now, granted, we do need, I don't know, what's the terminology over in EverQuest 2 and EverQuest, the little people that walk around to help people?
Guides.
We still need a guide system for Landmark. It will actually make it easier for new players. You can instantly get attached, or have somebody you can reach out to. Hey, I don't understand this, and you pick some people that are really good at explaining and all that kind of good stuff, and you have those people under your guide system. Go through a vetting process or whatever it takes to do it. But get some guides in there. Get some people that can actually help new players. And also, and multiple languages would really help too. French, German.
The French community. The biggest non-English community I think is the French people. Because I always see such beautiful tweets and I don't understand what they say because my French is terribly out of date. But just these massively awesome builds. And
I personally will handle the rednecks. I can speak their language. It's all good. I can handle that. Okay. What? 2 more questions?
Yeah, skip the one about SOE Live 2014 experience.
That one okay. At SOE Live 2013 and 2014, SOE evoked the impression that the game appeared to be further along than it actually was. It created expectations that they failed to meet in 2015. Do you think that Daybreak has been holding back on releasing more information on EQN in 2015 because they learned their lesson from 2013 and 2014?
I'm not sure learning the lesson would apply. I honestly kind of think that it's more along the lines of um, where they're falling into old patterns of community relations of doing it the same way pretty much every other AAA does it is like you go to Star Wars: The Old Republic and you've got your community manager. He occasionally talks to people, but for the most part, if they pull people into a closed beta, the design's already done. The only thing people are there in beta to do is to be free QA. They're not really there to help change the course of the game or say, oh, this thing doesn't work or whatever. I mean, we can try to say this is game breaking. They might fix it, they might not. But to say, oh, guys, your next expansion should not be about all story because you're going to piss off the raiders, that sort of thing, yeah. I'm not so much seeing that they learned any kind of lesson. It's just they're kind of falling back on the way people traditionally develop a game and interact. What they really need is a more proactive, face, a community manager or somebody who's going to step into that role to be the liaison. Because Terry's busy building the damn game. Let him go do that, and that's fine. Let him be happy building stuff, and I'm cool with that. It's just somebody's got to interface between Terry and us, so Terry doesn't have to take time out of his day building stuff for the game or organizing the meetings of the people who are building stuff so that we know that what's going on or we can feel that our contributions are actually having that impact. Why don't we have a town hall with somebody like once a week instead of, the workshop show, but have something where we can talk about other facets of the game? Because again, what do we know about EQN except a screenshot? And that was in June. Early June.
That actually has to do with what I was going to end up saying, because the question, let me pull this back up here. The question has very interesting wording here. SOE evoked the impression that the game appeared to be further along than it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go ahead and say this right out. It doesn't matter what game you're talking about. It doesn't matter what player base you're talking about. If you make expectations that are beyond what was said, that's your fault. No one else's. If you look at something and go, oh, this should be done in 3 months, based on what? How do you know? Who are you to decide whenever things come along? Now, am I saying that things have been incredibly slow? Yes, indeed they have. But I mean, the expectation that it's further along, further along than what? Based on what? From where? How?
Probably the gameplay videos, like the cleric class that they showed off because when you see something like that, people don't realize that was a special demo. You probably had a team doing a bit of machinima, but the ultimate reality of where's the rest of the game? Well, that's a little module. It's a little cube here.
It's called a vertical slice, and it's not real gameplay.
Right, and that's really the problem.
All the buildings, almost everything in there, except for the props, were made by players. Those buildings that were around there were made by Bride.
I'm sorry, guys.
I remember that.
Yeah, so. I know that. I mean, I know that they put together that stuff, but and somebody, Mechasonic just said the combat videos and things like that. Now, I'm not saying Daybreak is guilty of this. I am saying, however, that as an industry, gaming is incredibly guilty of this. You can look at Watch Dogs, you can look at Aliens Colonial Marines, you can look at Batman Arkham Knight. I can go on and on and on. And the simple fact is, developers will put together special footage to make it look really cool, and then it's not that. That's the way it works. Sorry.
I'm going to politely disagree with something Zach Saidu said in chat, that the acquisition was a surprise. I'm sorry. I'm in a company that's in the middle of a merger. It's not a freaking surprise. There are the winds of change were blowing well before the dotted line was signed. If anybody at Daybreak says they were surprised, I might actually call them a fibber to their face, because something like that is not an immediate. Some of the people who got kicked out and some of the people who got to stay, that was probably a surprise in some fashion. But in general terms, no, I don't think it was a shocker to most people. So,
Well, one of the big. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
well, I think with reference to how far along the game appeared to be, based on that vertical slice, that's one thing. But since then, you need to have somebody in there managing those expectations.
Agreed.
Right? And again, the whole thing about the hype train is you don't want to overstock it, you don't want your locomotive to explode before it gets to 88 miles an hour, right? Yeah, I just
Right.
made that Back to the Future joke.
That's good though. That's good.
I
Yeah.
just thought of a Back to the Future train. Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
right, Scott. So I understand not wanting to stoke the fires too hot too quickly, but early June, so June, July, August, September, mid-October. So we're talking almost 5 months with no news other than we're working on it, we're testing this, we're working on it. Don't tell us what you're doing. Show us. Let us break your stuff. Because
I want them to break it down into 20-second videos. And they release one 20-second video every 3 months of something. It could be a
Not even
butt
3
wagging. And I wouldn't care as long as it was something about EverQuest Next. You know? And 20 seconds is not a lot of time, but you would be surprised at how much you could fit in a 20-second video.
No kidding. No kidding.
No, I mean, WildStar used Vine to huge effect. In fact, this is how they introduce most of their devs, is Tony Ray, because he's a fool, awesome dude. He's the one who volunteered me to moderate the Twitch chat, so I tanked the crap out of that. Before they launched, well, actually it was Stephen Frost. This was before Tony got hired. But Stephen Frost went through to various developers, to their offices, and shot a Vine and said, this is this person's name, this is what they look like, this is what they do. And there was some goofy reaction because Stephen is a goofball. And it was cool because you got to see the faces. It's hard. It really is hard to hate somebody if you're looking at their face. I mean, it's harder than you see somebody's shot.
Timma being the possible exception.
Yeah, Tenma, he's a special case.
People hate me all the time. That is so not
you
fair.
look like
No.
Dennis Leary, but that's another story.
I know. I know.
It's okay. Just as long as you don't start singing that song because it'll get stuck in my head, and I love that
That
song.
was actually the first song I learned when I was a child.
That doesn't surprise me. Because you were singing about Tenma, right?
Live television. Love it.
But no, if where the hell was I going with this? I forget.
Hey,
Moving on.
love me or hate me, I still love you all.
Okay.
Well,
I don't.
well, I want to address an issue that I think is a driving force behind a lot of the frustrating stuff that we've experienced, and that is, I think most of the frustration that we are faced is coming from cost constraints that are being handed down from the parent company. And, you know, as Terry has always said, and Steve Klug, you know, enough time, enough money, I could build anything. And that's where they're just heavily being constrained. And it's probably why we don't have a guide system for the game. All these little extra things that we want require extra expenditures that I think they're just trying to limit right now as they get stuff sorted out from the buyout. Still.
Excited wants me to sing this song. I can't sing this song. It is the title of the song is an expletive and will not be repeated on the stream. But Google Dennis Leary, you'll find the song, I'm sure.
Jeez.
I've played that song on my show before because FCC.
Well, you know who the other person who's been accused of derailing our show before is, don't you?
Geo. Geo.
No. Anyway, the next question. Open development or not, the community is already deeply involved in the creation of EverQuest Next. But since all of this is on a voluntary basis, do you think the developers should reciprocate for the players' efforts? If yes, any idea how?
Well, I think there's some reciprocation already in the works as part of the deal of the Founders Packs. If you buy the Trailblazer, you get XYZ, whatever. But I don't think that's enough to compensate for the amount of time and effort and whatever. And I hate inconvenience credits at my job. I freaking hate them because I understand the time is important. But in terms of giving out goodies to the people who survive, I want a t-shirt that says, I survived open and closed beta. I survived alpha. But
Yep.
the only thing they can
Yeah.
really, the only thing they could really do, and this is what game companies do, is when they want to compensate players for something, but not really shell out money, because shelling out money is off the table. I don't think they're even considering that in my opinion. I don't even think that even shows up on the table.
No, that
They'll
that
just
creates
give people in-game
a whole
goodies,
alter.
like special titles of special outfits, something that you can't get. And those are really the only things you can do, or give them like early access or guaranteed beta to EverQuest Next, guaranteed alpha, guaranteed something. But there's really not something of monetary value that's going to cover the fact that we're over a year into alpha and beta, and what do we have to show for it? What have we done? We've worked so hard. This is one of the things that I remember back when Dave originally pitched Landmark at SOE Live 2013. I was in a turntable room with Jen Ortiz, who is one of the main people over at WildStar, and a couple of people in the WildStar community because they hadn't launched yet, and we heckled the crap out of him. It's like, why are you going to insist your players pay to help you build your game? What the hell's up with that? So this is before I drank that particular Kool-Aid. And I am still kind of wavering on the last gulp here. But for all of that, and I because my friend Packet Dancer was like, oh yeah, I bought it. I'm like, okay, I'll try it out, see if I like it. And I did. But all of the time and the effort expended by the players, even because if you think about it, there's a whole crap ton of players who have been in since day one who have never come back. Do you compensate those people? Do you compensate based on time in game? I mean, where do you draw the line? Because there's somebody who bought that $100 pack back in the day who hasn't played since day 2.
I think Tim and I are reading each other's mind here. Go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
Go.
Okay, everybody dived into EverQuest Next Landmark thinking it was EverQuest Next. Right off the get-go, they didn't read the freaking paperwork on it before they spent their money. They got into the game and was like, WTF? And they bailed. That's what happened.
Because and I'll tell you, one of the reasons they got into it is because I think they were under the impression that they were going to get tchotchkes that'll make them, special inside of EverQuest Next. And those tchotchkes that we got, tchotchkes, you got it. And those tchotchkes are for Landmark, not for EverQuest Next. And I think when they realized all of this,
sorry guys, your addiction was just controlling you just a little bit too much, man. It was not EverQuest. It never was. Tee.
But it was one of these things. They didn't read.
Yeah.
I knew what I was getting.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too, man. I know exactly what I was getting.
There are honestly a lot of the builders who could give 0 Fs about EverQuest. A lot of the sci-fi guys do not care.
Yeah.
They're not in it for EverQuest Next, and they're freaking tired of not having any props, any competitions, any support, any of this. But yet they're still awesome enough. Like, oh my god, Shitari is a beast. Of all these beautiful things, Pirate Oil is building. I don't know if he's still around. I don't keep.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's built. It's crazy.
There's these magnificent science fiction builds that back in the day we were told that would be one of the big things that we could do with Landmark, because it's not going to be EverQuest Next. Sure, there'll be stuff about it, but it's not EverQuest Next. It's never going to be EverQuest Next. So to see all of the hardcore building that's focused on and, really promoted by Daybreak has been EverQuest Next specific stuff. And I really think, aside from, the Halloween thing coming up, which is not a competition, I don't think there's going to be any prizes. I don't know. We'll find out when they tell us. Leaving it to 2 weeks before Halloween is not a bright idea, in my opinion. Because I need more time to play other games too, as well as build. My God.
You play
Actually,
other games?
Yeah, what the hell? I only have one. You should see my taskbar of how many
I'm-
games I have hardwired on my taskbar.
I'm still wondering why that we spent like a month or more on the workshop show, and then they're going to let the competition go for a month.
Well, but before we get too derailed on that, I just wanted to say, Phoenix, you're absolutely right. I mean, because I fit into one of those categories. I mean, not the fantastic, awesome builder or anything, but I'm in the not caring about EverQuest category. And you are absolutely right. I feel like I have been ice skating uphill this entire development cycle. I've been helping. I've been kind of pointing things out in other directions, trying to get a truly objective viewpoint on things, because I don't have the EverQuest background. A lot of people say, oh, well, it should have this. Because why? It doesn't fit anywhere else around here. I like being able to help out in the objective way that I can, but to have absolutely no support, no feedback, I mean, besides the occasional retweet, it is indeed very frustrating. I know several people that have given up on the game because they feel like they're not doing anything, and that's a problem.
You're just building stuff to make it look pretty, and then, it's like, you make this beautiful Star Destroyer out of Legos, but you're playing in a Lord of the Rings game. So what are you going to do with your Star Destroyer? You're going to tear it down and build a Dol Guldur or something, or the Lonely Mountain. So, yeah, it's... And honestly, that prompted... this is the terrible thing about it, is that sort of fact that I saw the lack of support for non-EverQuest related builds and whatnot is what actually prompted me back in June, actually back in May, to contact Daybreak and say, hey, can I talk to Terry, please? So that's, 5-6 months ago? And same stuff, different day, different month. And what I'm concerned with is that it turns into same stuff, different year. Because, holidays are coming up. I'm not expecting them to release anything or do anything major for the month of December. I mean, I'm not a cruel, evil... Yes, I am. But not to game developers.
Well,
I get the impression that Columbus Nova is not enabling Daybreak to fulfill their delivery on the promises of Landmark. People that, like Devlin, who purchased Landmark for Landmark. I mean, a lot of us, were EQ fans. Well, a lot of us were EQ fans, and we bought Landmark because it was related. But we bought it realizing it's its own game, and that the tchotchkes we were getting were just for Landmark, not for EverQuest Next. But I think they're hobbled, and it's just, I'm hoping that this is going to get better soon, but we don't know.
Well, to be fair, they're in the middle of an office move that's been planned, and so that always disrupts operations to some extent. Like, as Emily said in the chat earlier, is the workshop show has to wait until they get everything set up in their new streaming studio.
Yeah. That's
not
fine.
an immediate process. So we get that. We understand it. But the year is waning, and we know holidays are coming up, and most of us are not evil people to demand that devs work on Christmas, even though I have to work. Well, I used to have to work on Christmas. I got seniority now, so I get to say, screw you, holidays, I'm going home. But
I could probably hazard a guess which one you work at, but I'm not going to say.
You can. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But it is a call center. I'm just saying.
I used to work in a call center, dude. So I'm right there with you. I feel your pain.
You're feeling. Yeah.
I know your pain. I know your pain.
But if you think about it, the holiday season is coming up, so therefore, I don't most game companies, unless they're completely crazy, do not release major updates during the holidays. If you're launching a game, you're going to drop something for people to buy in time for Christmas. I get that. But we're not near anything like that for these guys. So they have probably one big update left in them for the rest of the year, and they better make it a good one.
Okay, 10 more than me.
No. Elemental Fiend said we'd have that UI update with the time, day type stuff by the end of the year. So I'm assuming that's going to be that update.
And that's cool. And I love Elemental Fiend from coming out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yeah, and he's not a highly social guy, or not a highly active person on social media, and he's really stepped up. I mean, really.
I'm still mad at him because he ain't following me.
Or me.
He doesn't follow me either. Barely talks to me. But whether it's a case of not being authorized to talk or just not being really...
It's okay, Timo. We're just not cool.
No.
Hell, Dave doesn't even follow.
We're too cool for him. That's what it is.
So my thing about the end of the year, because you had brought this up, and I brought this up briefly during the Morning Brew show, and I think this would be a really good idea, and I want to get people's feedback on this. I want the community to talk to me about this. We have a Halloween island right now. What if we ask for a Christmas island? Have community level events like this that everybody can take part in. I mean just go ahead.
Well, I think one of the things that to me is amazing about the community itself is, despite the fact that there's a number close to zero support for certain aspects of the community, that they're still reaching out. You guys are still doing this show. It's the 57th edition, Heinz 57 product placement. I never buy the ketchup, actually. But the fact that you guys are still going with no signs of shutting down, despite the lack of visible support, is pretty tremendous. The fact that the sci-fi builders are still doing their thing. They're just saying, screw it, I'm just going to build what I want. I'm not going to worry about these competitions. I don't need a trophy. I don't need a title. I don't need a special costume. Be nice, but I'm doing this because I love what I'm doing. That is so impressive. I mean, I wander off to other games all the time because I like playing other stuff. And bye, Emily!
That reminds me. I am disappointed that there was not a Halloween competition this year, because I would have loved to have gotten that skeleton outfit.
I want one too!
Now we saw Elemental Fiend. Wait a minute. Now we saw Elemental Fiend wearing a different colored version of that. So
you give me one.
Are we getting that?
I'm just saying, if you give me one where the bones on it are glowing blue, I will freaking drive down to San Diego and demand they give me a code for that one right now. I want that so bad.
I hear a new code.
Yeah,
I hear a new code giveaway.
We're running a little bit long. Emily had to jet and get back to work.
Sorry, Emily. I know.
But we got
showing up.
Yes, we got 2 questions left. Timma, you want to handle the one I got your name next to? Yeah, he's got the full mouth. That's what happens when you're wrong.
I'm willing to take the drive, Katina. I will fly.
Players usually want more, no matter how much they get. A piece of information is never enough, and a video is always preferred over a screenshot. Do you think that Daybreak not caving in under the pressure of EQN being called vaporware and people demanding more information is simply trying to stay on course for, or is Daybreak ignoring the demands of the community?
That's a very good question. I think it's a little bit of both. Simply because staying on course is very, very important. And we all know the goalpost changed when the company was bought and half the staff got kicked to the curb. Mm-hmm. So understanding that things change, therefore the time it's going to take to develop this suddenly at least doubled, if not tripled. But I think there is some ignoring of the demands of the community. Simply because you need to have an active community manager. I have met Radar X. He seems like a pretty cool guy. I'm not going to throw him under the bus, except to say that you can do that to your heart's content. But to be fair, he's not just the Landmark and EverQuest Next community manager, but we have been used to folks like Dexella. We've been used to folks like Tiffany Amneris. So we've had different experiences. So his methodology is not what we're used to. And frankly, it's not what we need right now. We need somebody in chat to moderate the crap out of it, answer the question so Rosie and Josh can focus on what they're doing, and so the players who are coming, what I term the vaporware trolls, can be addressed civilly, politely, and not necessarily with a ban hammer, but only if they deserve it. Or if they,
It's important. It's no, it really is. It's important.
The issue I have is he is fulfilling the community manager role for more than one game, and he does not
Roshan.
spend. And he does not spend any time in this game. He does not play it. He does not build in it. We rarely hear any tweets about it. We rarely ever hear any tweets from him, period. We have never seen him on a Let's Talk or Landmark Live. We have never had any communication with that man. So to me, he does not exist.
Well, the only communication people have had with him is when he became the community manager, and pretty much the first visible thing anybody saw him do was ban a whole crap ton of people, like Diggs. Some of the hard, the most passionate but yet generally respectful people on the forums who had their points of view and were not going to, bow their necks to what other people said. So when you start banning major people of the community, and they haven't done anything to warrant necessarily, again, I don't know of any infractions going on behind the scenes or whatever, but if you're banning leading members of the community and people can't see why you banned them, something's messed up.
Now, we saw why they all got banned. Because they sit there and did nothing but bash the game constantly, day in, day out, with these 10-page notations. That's why they got banned. And then they started attacking people. On top of that, that's why they got banned.
Well, attacking other people you shouldn't do, but politely and civilly disagreeing with them is perfectly fine. Like, Tenma, I disagree with you. We're still friends. It's okay. But yeah.
She'll kick your butt later.
Yeah. Did you see my lightsaber collection? I have more lightsabers than he's got swords on as well. I'm just saying.
Oh, sweet. Devlin, you had a comment, question?
Yeah. As a thing to follow up on that particular question, to wrap it all back into that particular forum post that I wrote that was only 5 pages, not 10. So Tenma, you can just calm yourself right down. Thank you very much. We understand that focus has shifted. We get that. We understand that everybody else seems to be under the impression that EverQuest is where the money is at. That's the way the market's going. That's what consumers want. That's what you all want to play. I get that. That's fine. But this whole, focus has shifted. That's why nothing is happening in Landmark has been a shield that people have been hiding behind for months. And you know what? It's not good enough anymore. It's just not. And you want to know why? That has nothing to do with where focus is being done. We don't get hardly any tweets from Landmark Game. We don't get any shows on the Landmark Game actual Twitter channel anymore. We see very little support. It's not on any of the Daybreak game cards.
That's a big one right there. You go look at that.
My forum post ended with, "Why does Daybreak seem so disinterested in their game?" It has nothing to do with focus being shifted or not. We know that focus hasn't shifted completely away from Landmark because we're getting an update at the end of the year. A massive, huge, fantastic update. So I'm sorry, guys, but I mean, it's just something that I was saying before, and I just wanted to say, yep, I absolutely agree. And there is a lot of other information out there that fits along right with what we're talking about. A lot of it.
And it's almost gotten to the point where if I had the money just to buy Landmark and a few of the developers to go along with it, I would. But yeah, I ain't got that kind of money.
It's look, Landmark is a game experience you cannot get anywhere else. It is one of a kind, and it's extraordinary. It's why Tenma, I mean, we're this week marks our 277th show. 278th show. Seriously.
That's a lot.
Every single one, at least 2 hours, and always showing off the things that people are creating. And we see new and amazing stuff every single week, day in, day out. So there's nothing like this anywhere, but it's Well, the last question here is is about the impatience. So players are usually the question is, players are usually pure consumers of games and rarely ever get involved in the game's creation. They therefore lack a substantial amount of experience and knowledge as to what it takes to make a game. I mean, one of the people who made games and was active in the forums was Diggs. It was not. It's one of the reasons
he knew
he contributed so much
that we don't know. Again, even what I know, having been to developer studios, they take down the cool artwork that I can't see when I go visit. I can't, look under the hood. So even what I know is not very much more than what a person who doesn't have any kind of press access will learn. But yeah, there's a lot of impatience, but part of the impatience is because we were told something and it's been 10 years and, feels like 10 years. So it comes down to the whole managing expectations, managing the community, massaging it gently without getting creepy. And, don't just throw everything out there first thing, because that's dumb. But I think in general, and Daybreak needs to get off the idea that revealing too much too soon is a bad idea. Other games are revealing stuff, letting players in early. We're in beta. Okay, there are games in alpha on Twitch right now showing a gameplay presentation that's much less polished. So that whole notion of we can't show our game too early because it'll give people the wrong idea. Too late. It's already been done. We have the public has the wrong idea about the games, and it's time for Daybreak to get off its butt, get a face. Again, it doesn't have to be Radar. I'm not throwing them under the bus. A little, maybe under one wheel, but get somebody in there that can be an enthusiastic advocate of your game. That's why I mentioned bring back Dexel, because one thing she did, she may not have played the game, but she was cheerful for it. She was willing to talk to us. Again, one thing Dave was good for it because he played the damn game. I still have a claim where I can see his freaking Starwolf mech. Until he doesn't bother logging in, it's going to probably expire soon. But get somebody on there who can take calm, polite, controlled, quiet Terry, again, awesome dude, doing the job, and translate it into, this is really cool! You guys are going to love this. Oh, here's this brief 3-second video of something we're working on. We're going to tease this, maybe even once a month, do some kind of tease to say, guys, you should go bananas about this. Because right now, the last thing we got was a screenshot. Show, don't tell. Stop telling us what you're doing. Show us what you're doing. I want to see.
You think players demanding more information from Daybreak is completely justified?
I think it is, because the last screenshot was in June. It's October, and it was just a single screenshot. We need more.
Landmark is a what kind of video game, everybody? A social building game. Yes, this is something we can all agree on, indeed. It's lacking the social part. Get on it. Period. That's all there is to it.
I mean, the community there is still a core community of people, folks who are waiting for EverQuest Next, folks who are doing their own thing. There is this community, and what Daybreak really should do is find somebody who is passionate about Landmark and EverQuest Next. And part of the problem is I'm not seeing that passion. I mean, they like Landmark; it's a great tool, but from what I see, it's this. A
means to an end?
It's a means to an end. It is not something they're really promoting because, again, that was Dave's baby. Dave was the one hyping this really cool thing they could do. And with Dave no longer there, they can't really, it kind of does feel weird to promote somebody else's kid in the marriage. It's like, yeah, this is the stepson after the divorce.
I'll do it.
What do you do? So that's what we have been doing. But the thing is, part of that is not our job. We are not supposed to be the community managers. We are not the people. I mean, we can do our best being on the shows, doing the live streams, doing the building. Tenma doing tutorials like a monster over here. But that doesn't help if you don't have somebody official saying, hey guys, we actually want you to play our game. Right now, I don't feel that anybody wants us to play their game or to test their game. They're just wanting us to build stuff for EverQuest Next.
Oh man, Tozeb just said, speaking of Dave, the porn game he talked about on the front page is on the front page of GOG this week. That is hysterical and cannot be a coincidence. Oh man, that's great.
Calling HR. Dave George to HR.
Oh man. Well, we've gone extra long, and
that's what she
Gene, said. Yeah. Gene, thank you so much for being here today.
I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. We had a lot of questions and a lot to cover. You know, I think the bottom line is we're all really passionate about this game, and we see the potential. Remember, we had a question. We hope
Please hire me. I will write your lore for you.
We want to see it.
I want to work with Josh and Paul Molina. That would be so cool. I met Paul recently. He's cool.
I would love to be able to do something a little bit more official with something like this. But to wrap it up with what we were talking about, I mean, we can't even get good feedback about our feedback. It kind of creates a problem. It just makes us feel as though we're spinning our wheels. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're starting to step up. We've certainly seen it. And we want more. We want more now. Yesterday, but yeah, but there's still a core community. This is what I want to
see. I want this as my birthday present for next year, if not like an early present.
Yeah.
Oh, Daddy-O, nice to see you in the chat. And Karan, if they want me back, I have to say, you know, having Dave on the last show, the bar was up here. Bringing me on, you know, the bar's way down here. We're playing Limbo.
Well, look, if you are available in this time slot, you are always welcome. We have a very large European audience, and they don't get to participate or watch typically the evening show that Timma does on his channel.
Je ne parle pas français.
Well, we do 2 shows basically so that we can have some kind of interaction with both groups of people. You have the European group, and then we of course have the, you know.
Trey has a great idea, and I think that's a brilliant idea. And in fact, that's really what needs to happen, because if they don't have anybody to spare, there's several people in the community who are who can step up and be that thing, but they don't have official sanction. Give them official sanction so they can murder. Wait, this is not 007. Never mind.
No, but Trelawnist is right though. I mean, there are people that are out there that after
they're
a year and a half, after 1,500 hours of a game, after spending a year of my life doing this, yeah, I would absolutely love to do that. Tell me what kind of stuff you need, and I will be more than happy to do it in whatever way I can.
Forum moderators, you know,
yeah.
A lot of companies have freelancers do forum moderators. I was talking to somebody at some other company about freelancing some written work for them, doing some website work, updating the website, putting content. And I know that content is Dexella's job now, and we love Dexella in her job. We don't want to steal her necessarily and demote her back to being the community manager. But if we could kind of clone her, that
yes, we do.
Cool. Can we have Dexella too?
We love her. Oh my God.
I'd say demote her, but let her keep her pay.
Yeah,
let her keep her pay.
Keep the paycheck. Well, to be fair, let's not dictate what Dexella wants to do with her career.
That's true.
If
That's
Dexella
quite true.
would want to come back to us, we would not deny her.
I'd like to see Dexella have her own show on Twitch
awesome.
and not related to Landmark, but her own show to cover entertainment news in the industry.
No, I mean there are people who work at other game companies who do their own. There's some who are like Twitch partners. Like actually, Jens Anderson is a Twitch partner now. He's got a subscription button, and he doesn't play. Yeah, he doesn't play any of his own games. I think maybe once I saw him play DCO, but he's mainly playing, maybe H1Z1 with his kid. But for the most part, give us somebody who plays the GD game, who loves it as much as we do, and is willing to interface and tell us, okay, I can't tell you that right now, but here's what we can show you. Emily and Dex and Omneris, and they can just talk about cool things like Tom Hiddleston. I would watch that show.
Yeah, no kidding.
Next, I
It
would
would be
be
fun.
with me on this one.
I wish she'd get into broadcasting.
As long as they don't bring baked goods on the show or talk about wine,
I'm just
I'll
telling
be
you.
happy with that.
I'm
no.
gonna tell a secret.
I'm the opposite.
I'm gonna tell a secret here. Emily makes some damn fine candied bacon.
I understand that, but if you're talking about Landmark, I could care less about no wine, and I could care less.
Oh
about
no, I'm not. No, you misunderstand me. I'm talking about Dex. She needs to have her own show to talk about the entertainment industry. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
gonna
not
like
related.
create
Not-
a channel on Twitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, big time. So anyway, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and Gene, thank you for being here. It's been a great show. Sorry for going really long, everybody, but
It's okay. You haven't run
it's-
across the 4 o'clock I was supposed to be at.
yeah, and I gotta get my son to his class here momentarily, and well, let's go around the clock and hear what everyone's got going on. What do you have going on this week for yourself, Gene?
Cleaning my house because I have a gas contractor coming to make sure that my gas pipes won't explode. And then
Look,
I
it's
get
Batman.
old on Sunday.
It's Batman.
Na 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 na. Bat heart.
Devlin, yeah, dude,
I miss
tell
you,
us.
Katina. Katina and I used to chat all the time in game. Oh no, we don't anymore. I'm sad.
I love how you say her name.
How's it supposed to be say?
Katina.
Katina. Sorry, Katina. My bad.
So it's
I don't know.
okay.
It's
You know
okay.
why I say it that way? I think that's the way Dave used to say it at the time. But Dave, and I used to hang out and watch
Yeah.
him build weird
Yeah.
ass stuff. I'm sorry, that's the bad word.
Yeah, it's okay. Devlin, what do you got going on, man? What are you working on in Landmark, and what's on your schedule for this week?
As far as like gaming and things like that is concerned, I got a couple of different ideas that I'd like to try. I want to try to attempt to do some kind of streaming at some point. I'm just not sure when or what or how or playing what game, or even if there is a market for it, if there's a spot open, if there's a desire for other people to see me not do anything for a little while, it's fine. But right now, I'm working on the Halloween stuff. I'm going to keep working on that until I can't work on it anymore. And currently, I'm helping Nobwinkle build the Batcave underneath Wayne Manor. So there is going to be an awesome Batcave,
Yes.
guys. Just give me a little while. I promise.
Bat colony emitter. I love the
Yes,
fact that
as-
when you explode you resize the emitter, the bats get bigger.
Oh,
As soon as I saw that, I was like, Batcave, Batcave.
Though I do have to say, I dislike the collision plates on the spooky tree. Like, whoa. I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
Yeah,
tough.
the collision on the spooky tree is completely messed up.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm sad to see that. But and especially once you I like to put little eyes on my tree. Yes. And once you place a prop on the tree, you can't click on it because the tree's shape overrides it.
Oh yeah. Wow. Timo, what do you got going on this week, brother?
Well, we're finishing up the feedback for the Halazian builds, and then this Saturday. This Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern is going to be the Halloween community build, and we do invite everybody to come and be a part of it, no matter where you're from, what you do, who you're married to, that whole thing.
And married to video games.
Yeah, pretty much. And you're definitely more than welcome to come and be a part of it. We're going to be doing some spooky Halloween-ish type stuff. I didn't want to do it on the weekend of Halloween because hardly anybody ever shows up on holidays. So, yeah, that's it.
It's cool, man. And with
I'm not
LTL
either.
on Wednesday night. Let's talk about
I got to
Wednesday
address something here real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Billionaire, dude, I am an almost 30-year-old Batman fan, and my father had me when he was almost 30, and he's a lifelong Batman fan. There is 90 years worth of Bat fun going on here. I'm the one that sets the bar here, okay? Nobody else sets the Bat bar besides me.
Yes.
Oh,
Right on.
Devlin, you are not the
Okay.
Batman. You do not have the symbol tattooed on your
Yeah.
forehead.
Uh-oh.
You didn't show up on screen in a costume.
Uh-oh.
Well, folks, we got to wrap because I got to go, and I've got a hard stop here. Tune in this week, all week, 10 to noon Eastern time for the morning brew. We're going through looking at all the cool Halloween stuff, and well, go out and build something. We'll come take a look at it. Be good, everybody, and that's a wrap.
Or be good at it.
Yeah.
You beat me to it this time.
You slow.
Cheers, everyone. We'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow.